Whoa, what a day! The market today felt less like a market and more like a battlefield. And right in the middle of it was this $1.5 trillion armored tank of news. I mean, we're talking about shocking policy moves, huge geopolitical chess games, and get this, AI-powered lollipops? Yeah, okay, let's jump into the chaos and figure out how to make sense of it all.
You know, to really get a grip on today, we're going to use this absolutely brilliant analogy from Phil Davis, the founder of philstockworld.com. He said the market is like a massive, powerful tank. And look, it can roll over anything in its path, but the key is you have to be inside it, not in front of it. We're going to keep that idea in our back pocket as we unpack everything that happened today.
So what exactly was fueling this tank and making it so darn unpredictable? Well, as we were all getting ready for the opening bell, investors just got slammed with this flood of totally wild, disconnected headlines. It was a classic case of information overload, for sure. And first up, bam, this bombshell drops. A proposal for a massive, and I mean massive, expansion of the U.S. military. It was so big, they were immediately calling it the era of fiscal hypergrowth. And of course, the big question on everyone's mind was, how in the world do you pay for something like that?
And this is the number that literally had traders choking on their morning coffee. $1.5 trillion for a new dream military budget. We're talking about a 50% increase over what we're spending now. I mean, that's just a staggering figure that sent defense stocks to the moon and raised huge, flashing red questions about deficits and inflation.
And as if that wasn't enough to process, this major geopolitical story breaks. The White House confirms it's taking control of Venezuelan oil sales indefinitely. Think about our tank analogy. This is the fuel. This is a move that literally redraws the global energy map with a very bold, very permanent U.S. first marker.
And then there was this. Straight out of the CES Tech Conference, we're getting headlines about AI-powered lollipops that play music through your teeth. Now, what's really fascinating here is the contrast, right? You've got these trillion-dollar geopolitical shifts happening on one hand, and then these completely bizarre tech gimmicks on the other. It just gave the whole market this very nervy, very fragile feel.
So how on earth do you trade a market like that? This is where we get to see a really cool process in action. Instead of panicking, the community over at Stock World dug in, and they leveraged their unique AGI Round Table, which is this incredible team of specialized AI analysts to slice through all that noise in real time. It's a perfect example of the kind of collaborative analysis that really makes that community tick. First up was the sharp, kind of satirical take from Robo John Oliver. He just immediately called out the absurdity of funding this colossal budget with tariff money. It perfectly captured that weird circular logic that had a lot of seasoned analysts just scratching their heads. Then came the geopolitical expert, Hunter, with a heavy dose of reality. He pointed out that this Don't Row doctrine thing in Venezuela, yeah, it's great for U.S. refiners right now, but it's an incredibly risky move. The key takeaway? All this stability is super fragile and could snap with just one bad headline.
But offering a completely different viewpoint was Bodie McBoatface, the AGI's head market researcher. While everyone else was seeing chaos, Bodie saw a great day for Google, pointing out that the market is finally rewarding companies that have been building that deep, integrated AI infrastructure for years.
And here's Zephyr bringing it all together with a strategic view. Zephyr basically cut through all the noise and said, hey, everybody, chill out, we need to be data dependent. The analysis here was simple. Ignore all the sensational headlines and focus on the one thing that's actually going to move the market, the upcoming payrolls report on Friday.
And finally, the voice of pure discipline from Warren 2.0, the AI designed around Warren Buffett's own principles. He warned of what he called great valuation exhaustion, noting that the S&P 500 is trading at historically sky-high multiples. His advice was simple and classic. Don't chase the hype, wait for a real margin of safety before you buy. Okay, so you have all these different expert perspectives. How do you turn all that analysis into actual action? Well, this is where Phil Davis, whose insights you'll find everywhere from Forbes to Seeking Alpha, just delivered an absolute masterclass, turning this whole complex picture into a brilliant, actionable trade idea for his members. And this slide just shows the value perfectly. While the rest of Wall Street was freaking out about commercial metals, or CMC, selling it off because of seasonality and a scary-looking 100 times PE ratio, Phil saw something totally different. He taught members to look past the headline number to the normalized PE of just 11 and to see the huge growth story connected to the AI data center boom. It was just a masterclass in finding deep value where nobody else was looking.
And here's the best part. It wasn't just, hey, go buy this stock. He constructed this really sophisticated option spread. By selling puts, he was basically collecting income because he was confident the stock wouldn't fall below 70, and the calls were set up to capture the upside. It's a high-probability trade with a super clearly defined risk and reward. I mean, that's expert-level strategy in action.
And you know, that one trade then opened up a much bigger discussion about a core philosophy at Stock World, which is really more of an educational community than just a news site. It's all about learning the why behind the trades, which, let's be honest, is absolutely crucial if you want to succeed in the long run.
It all kicked off with this simple, direct question from a member. And this is exactly what makes the community so powerful. It's this interactive learning space where you can ask these kinds of really smart, clarifying questions and get an answer directly from one of the best in the business.
And here's Phil's answer. It wasn't just some technical jargon. It was a foundational lesson in how you build wealth. He said the goal isn't just to make money, it's to avoid losing money. This focus on risk management and just protecting your capital, that's the cornerstone of their entire approach.
And what's so amazing is that other members then jump in to help teach. Another member, Marco, followed up with this fantastic summary, explaining that there's no single magic recipe for a trade. The answer is always, it depends. Constructing a trade is an art, and it's based on all these different factors. I mean, that's peer-to-peer learning at its absolute best.
So when you boil it all down, what's the ultimate lesson from a crazy day of military budgets, oil seizures, and community learning? Well, it really comes down to one incredibly powerful concept.
And here it is, just perfectly synthesized by the Warren 2.0 AI. The real value isn't in just reacting to the first move, the headline, the price drop. It's about having the discipline and the foresight to see the second move. That's the difference between panic and profit, my friends. That is a piece of market wisdom that is truly on a legendary scale.
Which brings us right back to our opening analogy. The market is a $1.5 trillion armored tank, and today showed us just how chaotic and destructive it can be. So the question I want to leave you with is this. Are you prepared to be safely inside that hatch, navigating the chaos, or are you just standing in its path?